Nathan, saw Brodie Grundy with the track early. How's the ankle?
Yeah, Broads is fine. He got through the game well after tweaking a little bit early in the game, but we've had a longer week. Gives us a little bit more time to recover and prepare, and we don't think that we'll have a problem there.
Did he have a couple of boxes to tick though before?
No, that was just management today.
I know you're a few days out. Do you have any certainties sort of around ins or outs at this stage?
No, and in the end we'll name the squad at 26, which is bizarre to name it on a Thursday when you're still so far out. Our main session will be on Saturday. The VFL play on Sunday, so we'll consider carryovers, and we'll consider what we need in the squad for Monday, and whether we have a 23rd or 24th. But we'll name a 26 tonight, and but that will still be quite fluid over the next couple of days.
Bucks, is Braden Sire leading the charge to replace Beamsy?
Braden's form has been really good. Josh Dacos has stood up really well. Rupert Wills only just went out of the side and went back. But clearly we'll be looking for some midfield depth to replace Beamsy's role, so we can maintain the balance of the rest of the side.
Bucks, some aspects of improvised match sim this morning. What are the specific areas this week you're looking for from improvement from last week?
Yeah, I think that over the last couple of weeks we probably just haven't defended as well the ground as well as we normally do. So I think that's our DNA. It's something that we pride ourselves on. So we weren't altogether sharp today, but it was a step forward, and we've got a challenge in Melbourne who are playing an up-tempo brand of footy, always have. They take the game on in offence, so that'll be a challenge for us.
Mason Cox looking good this week?
He's trained well again.
Yeah.
He trained well last week, and the medicos sort of had him off the table, so I'm not going to count my chickens, but he trained well again today.
And Cox and Reid in the same fall, and that is, I know a few weeks after the Port game you were quite confident.
Well,
you're still confident that could happen?
I think that's something that we have to consider when Coxie gets up, what the ultimate balance of the side is and the way that we want to go with that.
Was there any optimistic signs in regards to Tommy Langton's knee? Bucks, have you got an update on that at this stage?
The idea was to rest and recover. I think he's another week away from seeing the specialist again, so we don't have any sort of new information on that yet.
Bucks Cox missing 5 weeks. Does that play against him coming straight back in an AFL level, or are you more likely to go back to VFL?
It's a consideration whether we put him into VFL or whether we put him straight in. He's had a little bit of work. He's had a fair bit of work. So the straight line stuff, the side to side, has probably been a week and a half, 2 weeks. He's done a couple of full ground sessions. It is a consideration whether we pull the trigger on that.
Bucks, you gave a really honest assessment yesterday of the state of your relationship with Mick Malthouse.
Yeah.
Could you just offer us some comments, 24 hours later, on whether you, for want of a better term, regret that or sticking by it?
Oh, look, clearly I knew I'd have to address it today. And I agree with Mick. It's the focus on this one relationship is disappointing at this point in time, given Mick's induction in the Hall of Fame on Tuesday night, and the focus should be on his significant contribution to the game as a player and a coach. What I would do is direct people to the context of the comments and to actually go and see them in their entirety, to understand that it was about an understanding of Mick as a driven person, and how that drive has pushed him to success in his career. And ultimately you break a few eggs along the way, and some of those are broken relationships, which in actual fact ours is. But I don't think that should be the focus of what came out of that conversation. There's actually a lot of positivity and positive comment in what I said that not a lot would be aware of.
But do you regret the timing of the negatives though?
I regret the way that it has been reported. Yeah.
You're one of the biggest legends ever in this football club, Bucks. As hopefully Mick will be reflected on one day, he's a premiership coach. Would you like to think that one day you'll go to a pub or a coffee shop and bury this issue?
Oh, look, I think that's probably for another time, because any more comment that I make about it, I'm not confident will be received in the right way. And I suppose if you want to refer to where I reckon it stands at the moment, I've already made those comments yesterday, which have been perceived in a certain light.
Have you reached out to Mick since?
No.
Are you personally disappointed that the relationship is as it is? I mean, given the standing you both have at the club.
I'll answer this one, and this will be the last one. Mick's been a tremendous servant to the game. Success as a player, success as a coach, and he's gone about it in his own way, as he said on Tuesday night. He's done it being himself, which I admire. I've always admired people who have the courage to do it their way, and that's exactly how Mick has done it. I don't think it's appropriate that our relationship or the breakdown of our relationship is a focus at this time. It's such a small part of Mick's story. It shouldn't be about me. It shouldn't be about necessarily just the Collingwood Football Club either. It's definitely not in the context of what happened 8 years ago with a coaching handover. But it seems to be something that people are interested in. I agree. I think Mick needs the space, and you guys and the game needs the space to celebrate his achievements. And I won't be making any more comment to allow that.
But a more pressing issue. Chris spent a bit of time in the midfield last week. Is that to address a need for speed or a bit of run and carry in there?
We were looking for some run, and we needed some run. And he gave it to us. But I mean, Crispy's a versatile player. He's played as a high forward. He's played as a high back, and he's played through the midfield. So, if you had 3 or 4 of him, it'd be handy. But he's it's something that we'll continue to go to. He's played up on the wing at times this year as well. It's sort of not as prevalent. It goes under the radar quite a bit because we see him as such an important part of our back six.
Bucks, is Beamsy due to have surgery today? And could you just clarify your comments to say whether he would have been dropped because of his form or dropped because of his form was caused by his hip?
Yeah, well, I think he's with his hip the way it's been, that he just, as he said over the last couple of days, he just hasn't been able to play at the level that he needed to, and I think the result of that is that it was part of the decision and precipitated us making the call to go and get it done. I think it was just grinding away for him, and it really, there wasn't much light at the end of the tunnel without the procedure. So for him, it sort of takes away that, and he's spoken about that pressure to perform and the inability of his body to do what is needed. So we get this done, we take stock and look forward to getting Beamsy back when he's right to go.
And in light of Ben's question about Chris, how much you're missing Beamsy's run, when he's at his peak, that's sort of a real feature of his game.
Yeah, and look, Beamsy by his own admission, understands that there was always going to be a settling in period. Yeah. We'll get to that. Unfortunately, it won't be in the next 12 to 16 weeks. He'll get the surgery done and get that right, and then whether it's at the end of this year, which is unlikely, or whether it's 3 or 4 pre-season and then into next year, those questions will come. But the opportunity for Beamsy to have a really clean run at it will come as well, and that's what every player wants and deserves.
The injury list is probably not to 2018 levels just yet, but the fact that you covered those injuries so well and made it a grand final and almost won the flag, does that give you guys confidence in your ability to cover injuries to key players this year?
Yeah, we think we've got a strong philosophy of role play and blokes coming in and playing their role. I just at various times the synergy and the connection of the team is better, and that's or better or worse, and that's probably what form is. And if we're in good form, then rising tide carries all boats. We go a bit better. So I think that we've been able to handle personnel changes, and if everyone's playing their role and bringing intensity to it, we'll be able to buffer that.
Bucks, that need for a run, injecting Crisp in there, was that a one-off against Freo, do you think, or has that been a thing that's been an issue for a little bit?
No, I think our win-loss is looking relatively sound, and we've played some pretty good footy. I think that off a narrow loss last week, it sharpens you up. There's no doubt. It sort of makes you look at. It's not that we don't look at things, even in wins, things that we should improve or need to improve. but it does sharpen us up a little bit. And the run through the midfield hasn't necessarily been an issue for us. The midfield's a bit bigger than just the three blokes that are at ground level in there. But we've had some high performers. Like Brody's had a fantastic season. Pendles has had a really strong season. Steele's had his moments. He's been a little bit inconsistent, but even when he's not finding the ball as much, his work rate's through the roof. Maney and Flip have been huge, but high backs and high forwards feel part of that midfield as well. So I think as it stands, we're stacking up okay for run.
But reflecting on 2002 yesterday, I think you sort of, to paraphrase, commented that it was player driven. You were getting the most out of the group, and it was working towards a situation where the players were driving the standards.
Yeah.
Do you think you're getting a similar thing with this group at the moment?
Yeah, I think that's an important part of my philosophy is as a coach is to have a really strong leadership in the playing group and ownership through the playing group. And I think our leaders have been huge in the last 18 months. They're really driving the club and changing the club from the inside out, not only with their on-field performances, but with the way that they carry themselves off the field. So it's a very satisfying thing to be a part of, and we drive each other, pretty solidly. The leadership and the coaching group, and vice versa. But we had a focus on that going into this season to improve that even more, and I think we're getting it. Yeah.
But these are a pretty interesting case. I mean, they're not struggling for their fair share of the ball in the play, but they just seem to be quite wasteful and costing themselves quite a few wins. They're sort of aware of the fact that if it all clicks, then they're going to be pretty hard to stop.
I mean, there's some pretty good teams in the comp, Ron. I reckon, and Melbourne's best is pretty good. So we generally plan for the opposition's best.
But I mean,
they've been holding the ball in the front half in the last month more than any other team. So they're doing a lot right. So they provide a constant challenge. Their midfield's strong. They're fast. Their speed at ground level on the forward line is really stacking up, and their defence is starting to come together. So, there's no easy games. We're going to have to earn it, and we're looking forward to the challenge, given that we need to sharpen up a bit ourselves.
It's become such a special day, obviously. Now with Friday MND, and I guess it's not soon after you had young Kyron Maguire here. Is it sort of like another sort of, it gives you your plays a bit of perspective, and the fact that it's you've had a few frequent reminders that sort of help ground your players. Yeah, well, I think that the Fight MND cause and Neil's about to present to the whole club. Tracy Swinton is present with her sons today, and it was only 12 months ago that Murray was with us, and was honoured. I was able to honour him through the slide and with his time at the football club. They're the real issues. They're the real headlines that are meaningful. Is the integrity, the selflessness of a bloke like Neil Danaher. And I haven't had that much to do with him. He coached me in an Allies game way back when, but in my limited dealings with him and my time around him, he just carries a real aura about him. And the way that he's handled his challenges and the way that he fights for this cause is inspiring to all. So I think this Monday, it's Queen's birth, always been known as Queen's birthday. I think it's definitely the big freeze now, and it's great to shine a light on that and to help the cause along.
Bucks, Josh Thomas probably hasn't quite been the player he was last year. How have you assessed his season so far?
Yeah, JT's really hard on himself, and he's so disciplined and diligent to the role that we want him to play. When we click and when we're in form, his contribution rises with it, because he just won't leave role to go and feather his nest. So we love his discipline. We love his top end capacity. We love his grunt and his clean hands, and no, I'm not concerned about his form at all.